Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Mr. George, Mr. Devon George. Good morning, Ava, Sandrienne Lewis. My name is Cindy Ann Lewis Walcott, and we are romancing Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. And we're romancing Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique with one of our own Latin community fellows. Mr. Devon George was an athlete at SAASS, representing Grenada, the OECS. And I want to start by saying, well, first, in my opinion, you were always very tall. And when I came here to Canada, I heard of a football team called the Humble or the Gentle Lions. And I said, there's no such thing as a gentle lion. That doesn't make sense. But in my memory of you, I would use that word to describe you. You were a lion, but very humble, very gentle. And in Ladig, I don't know how many of us outside of SAASS knew the contributions you were making there. You started, well, I don't know, you're gonna tell me when you really started your athletic career, when you knew you wanted to become an athlete. But, and my sister Ova is gonna talk about you later on when you became a teacher and when you became, in Convent, when you went from Methodist to Convent. So, Mr. George, let me start by saying officially welcome and thank you for accepting my invitation.
Thank you very much. And good day to you. Thank you for having me. And Sandra, hello, and good day to you too. Thanks.
Hi. You know what? I want to point out though, even if I haven't seen him in years, his smile is exactly the same.
Okay, yeah. All right, thanks.
Yes, Mr. And he took off some hair on top and he added some
in the bottom, yeah.
You know, I mean, I had to have this a little bit because my age needs to show a bit, you know. Yeah.
And I must say, you have a lovely family. Your daughter entertained us with a song earlier on. It was very nice. And she's taken leadership skill. She has the skills already. And I can tell, I don't know much about mom, but from dad, I know she's got a great role model.
I think she does have a great role model in her mother as well.
Oh, excellent. So, Ava, do you want to start by asking or asking anything about Mr. George?
Well, you know, I do it. And now that Mr. George and I talked before we got into the recording, he jogged my memory a little. And I couldn't remember that he taught in Convent, but I remember him riding a motorcycle from Methodist going to Ladig, and a frequent got a ride with him. So my memory, that's why I remember, because he was this massive giant, in my opinion, right? Guy, and he was such a handsome guy, and he's on this motorcycle, everybody knows, but he always would stop, I'll get a ride, I'm holding on there, I'm feeling, you know, and I felt so safe and secure because where we live, it's uphill. So if he picked me up around Convent, we're going up all the way. So thanks for, you know, allowing me to feel safe. And I'm sure there were the kids that you gave ride, but it's kind of, you know, this guy giving us a ride on his motorcycle to take us home. So that was really nice. And you're smiling after the same.
All right, you're welcome, man.
So let me say my bit about Mr. George before I ask him how he starts. And do you mind if I call you Devon? No, I get it because of us calling you Mr. George.
That's fine.
I'm in the habit of calling you Mr. George, so I may switch because
that's all right.
I think I earned the right to call you Devon because you and I are almost same age. But sorry, it's a respect thing. It's a respect thing.
Actually the name my parents gave me, so you know. I tell people they didn't give me Mr. You know, and they named me. That's not on my birth certificate, but that's all right.
But it's part of our culture to show respect in that way.
Quite true.
But I'm asking your indulgence in that. I'd slip back into Devon because I've known you for a very, very long time.
Sure, that's fine.
Okay. So my memory of you, if I don't know, for some reason, it was always around the post office, the old post office by St. Louis, you on the road. I can't remember you coming to the post office, but I think it was you coming from maybe school or practice or something. You'd be walking very calm, very gentle. And you were one of the guys I admire so much. I thought you were my best friend. I remember us talking, I don't know what we used to talk about, but I would walk with you from by the post office to the junction with Harold Noel there.
Right.
Richmond Grand Bacolet Road meets the Knowles Hill Road.
Ladig, yeah,
Yes.
okay.
The Ladig St. James, yeah.
Yes,
Ladig
so
Bellevue and, yeah.
yes.
that road that goes west is called the Knowles Hill Road. It's
really?
#1 road. And the one that goes across inside Ladig is called the Richmond Grand Bacolet Road.
Did not know
Okay.
Right.
Well, I never
But
okay.
Devon, you had there was a big welcome to Ladig sign there at one time, and it said the photo was by you. It was a photo by Devon George. And you told me you had a studio, which we're going to talk about later on. But let's start with, where did you go to primary school? How did you start?
All right. Well, I went to St. Andrew's Methodist School. That's primary school. Yeah.
Wow.
And from there, I went on to SAASS. Well, at the time, SAASS was in Simon. So I started in Simon and then came down to Telescope because school moved to Telescope eventually. So that's where my formal education started at the Methodist school. Because in my day, preschool was not a popular thing. It was not a common thing. So we didn't do preschool. So we started at the Methodist school and then went on to SAASS. So in terms of starting anything related to track and field, was in the road, close to home. Because we always running,
Before we go with track and field, why Methodist? You're way in Ladig area.
Yes.
You're passing Holy Innocent and Monks and Tavens. Then you're passing the RC school going down there.
Right.
Why Methodist?
Well, at the time, I think what happened earlier, I had a brother and a sister that taught at the Methodist school, right? So then my other siblings before me, as a matter of fact, I had elder brothers who went to the Methodist school as students and then subsequently taught there. But certainly my sister and brother before me, when they started at the Methodist school, I think we had a sibling teaching there. So it could perhaps be why, and the principal at the time, Mr. Roberts, was also my father's very good friend. So he always visited, they always visited each other at their homes, So it could probably be, one of a couple of the main reasons why the Methodist.
Okay. So now you're in Methodist, and did Methodist have sports? Did you start there? I mean, running in the road might have been at home.
Yeah, we didn't have sports. We didn't have track and field in school in those days. I remember when I was at standard 4 or standard 5, there was some trial to have students to go to represent the school at St. Andrew's Primary School sports or something of the sort I might have had, yeah. But I wasn't able to make it. All right, you had guys like I remember clearly guys like Floyd Mark and Eugene Liquish, they were much quicker than guys like me. They lived in Grenville, they had access to the playing field, that sort of thing. Yeah.
That's a big thing. They had access to the playing field.
Yeah.
So you, in our community, we had that Ladig Colts Youth Club, LCYC.
Right.
Were you part of LCYC?
Well, I participated in LCYC activities and I represented LCYC as well. I remember in 1980, I think it was 80 or 81, or 80 and 81, and possibly 82, they had community sports, and I was part of that. And in one of those years, I represented the community at the Whitsuntide Games.
Oh, wow.
So I was part of the activities, yes.
All right. So now you're in SAASS. What year did you start? So in 77, 78, 79?
76 or 7, what was it? I think it was 76 actually. The academic year 76, 77. Yeah. And yeah.
And well, in a former interview, I've been able to show you pictures a lot of times. They call you Ubootoo. I don't know.
Yeah,
Where
well,
his name came from? What does it mean?
that came from primary school, you know. Yeah, when we were, I remember standard 5 and were discussing the Caribs and AWACS and so on. And they thought a couple of us fit the description of the Carib chief, you know. So we were teasing each other, and I guess he just stuck with me, you know. Yeah,
So
he stuck with me.
you were showing some leadership since then, like Chief Ubootoo.
Yes.
All right then, because I've never heard that name around Digue, but I've spoken to many SAASS students since, and the name keep reoccurring.
Yes, I did hear one of the students. I think it was Rayfel saying Ubootoo. Yeah, so that's
right.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I guess it was more known among the members of the school community.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, yesterday I spoke to Edwin Joseph and Oliver Fletcher. Right. And they were asking me if I talk to Ubootoo, and it's like, oh, thank God I know who they're talking about now, because
okay. Yes.
So you're in SAASS now, and so you're there with Trevor Modeste.
Well, Trevor was actually 2 forms ahead of me. Yes.
Right. So right away you got into a culture of sports.
Yeah, because SAASS was, a lot about sports, right? As you got in, they put you you get involved in the house system, so they put you in the houses. And then the first term we had football, right? And then the next term we had track and field, and then we had cricket, right? And as young guys, you just participated in everything, right. So we went in and immediately you got involved in playing football. And then next term was track and field, so you were in track and field, and then cricket, and you were in that, So we just, and they had a very good system, I must say, So we had a good house system, and they were very competitive. So I tell you what, when I went in, we had Piggott, Lane, Nash, and Schools House. And
which one were you in?
Well, they had a tradition apparently of placing members according to who the families were. So I had a lot of siblings who went to SAASS, right? And 2 of my older sisters were at Piggott House. And then my sister immediately before me were in Lane House, and my brother before her in Nash House. So when I went to SAASS, they actually had me placed in Lane House and Piggott House. So I went to Piggott House. And during the first term, I played football for Piggott House. And when track and field came around, at the time, I guess I was one of the more athletic guys in the farm. And Lane House decided to make noise about it. So they had a tussle, and I eventually ended up in Lane House.
Oh, okay.
Now, at that time, every term, the housemaster would also sign your report book and comment. And the Lane House master's comment was that Devon accepted his membership of Lane House very reluctantly. Because when they put me in Lane House, I cried. Yeah, I cried. Lane House actually at the time used to be coming last in sports. Yeah. And I felt connected with Piggott House because, one of my sisters before me in particular was a very good athlete, represented SAASS at Intercol in the 60s when SAASS girls actually won Intercol, That was the first time for many, many, many years. And
I
she
think
was really good.
The 70s, maybe the early 1970, maybe. I think that's when they
say 1970s, 1960s, I think it was. Yeah, 1960s.
Oh, maybe it wasn't called Intercol then.
Yeah, it was Intercol, man. That's when SAASS girls won. In fact, the girls won many, many years before the boys actually won.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So eventually.
So, one sec. You had a sister named Carol George?
Yes, Mullen Carol George.
Teacher.
Yes.
Yeah, she was my teacher in Holy Innocent.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes. That's right.
So now you're very reluctantly in Lane House. Lane is yellow.
Yes. Yellow. That's right. Okay. Yes.
And what happened? Did you get to change Lane House? So
I didn't get to change.
Athletes, what happened?
I didn't get, well, even if I get to change Lane House in terms of how they perform.
Right.
So by Form 2, when you move up, get a little older. So some of the older guys who were there left. That year actually performed creditably. I think Ricky Thomas actually beat me into getting the championship trophy by half a point.
Wow.
Right? Wow. Yeah, so that year, I think I scored 15.5 points or something like that, and he scored 16. That year, I placed second in high jump. I won the long jump, and I was third in the 100 meters. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that was as sub-juniors. So the next year I moved, well, actually, although I won the long jump and I was second in the high jump, the only event I did at Intercol was a 4x1 really. And well, we didn't medal, right? Mm-hmm. The next year, I became a junior. And by that time, I realized that track wasn't really good for me. The other guys were just much faster than I was, right? So what I did, I started doing field events, but we didn't have junior field events at the time. In fact, let's see, yeah, by that time we had junior javelin. That was the only throwing event that we had, right? And then, well, I compete in the high jump, but your first year as a junior, so the other guys out there, they beat you out of it, right? So the interesting thing about the javelin is that I taught a guy to throw the javelin the week before, and he beat me into second place. I started teaches at SAASS.
That is the objective of teaching. The student must pass the master, otherwise you would not have been a successful teacher.
That means you were a great teacher.
Yeah, I suppose. So those days we didn't have those junior events at Intercol, junior throw and so on.
But you ended up as a shot put thrower?
Yeah, that became my main event.
All right. Okay.
And that's a story because when I got to SAASS, actually I could tell you the very first time I touched a shot put, The very first time I touched a shot put, I was in primary school. I was still at the Methodist school. And I remember Eros Rapier was training at the Victoria Park. And Eros Rapier actually was a character gold medalist, right?
I do. I know. I have his info here.
Right. So he was training, and I remember looking at him doing the shot, and I said to the guys, I said I could do this thing. And I went after the I went to take to bring for him, and I was amazed at how heavy it was. So I wasn't able to really put it. But then when I went to SAASS, my brother. When I started Form 1, my brother was at Form 5, and he was doing the event. He wasn't very good at the event, but being much bigger and stronger than I was, he was able to outdo me easily. And I said to him, I say, I'm going to beat you at this thing. So I started training with a shot. So almost every day, I'll go to the river, get my stones, and I'll be putting the shot.
You started with stones.
But that's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yes. Yes.
I know my father would quarrel about how we breaking up the yard. And we turn his back.
That sounds like a laddie kind of father. That sounds like, that's up our alley. Yep.
Yeah, I had to do it behind his back until eventually when I started having good success, he'd come to the veranda and sit down and look at me,
Wow, that's impressive. That's impressive.
Yeah. Well, that's the only time he saw me doing the event. Well, I mean, not event, but saw me training because, the thing is, I never had what I was referred to now as the luxury of having any of my parents, see me compete, Just never happened.
But I will excuse your parents and especially your dad, because I know your dad was very involved in trade, in developing the young fellows in the our father learned trade with your dad. My dad was a joiner, cabinet maker. My uncles, I have one that's a PhD now in the field. They learn with your dad. So he might have been developing the community and and he knew he had your older brothers to take care of you. So
but I kind of understood because actually you see those times too, we didn't have those events on sports day. Those are events that were completed prior to sports day. And, you know, you just wouldn't see your parents coming to sports, you know.
Right.
Transportation and thing was not like now. You know, I always give this joke, you know, imagine when I graduated from SAASS, I graduated valedictorian, and we were at Telescope at the time. And after graduation, we had to walk to graduation and walk home the night after graduation. You know, I remember we were walking coming up, and eventually got a ride with Mr. Duncan, you know.
Duncan.
Yeah, so,
yes,
we have had to walk right home.
Yes.
You know, yeah, including my dad, you know. So that's how it was. So I mean, I don't feel any way about the fact that they never saw me compete, you know, actually, you know. It'd have been good, but I understood.
You know what, though? And I don't think I've ever remember seeing his mom. I think your dad was Adrian George, was he?
That's right.
And I just remember they were religious. I remember they were very religious. And that's kind of my memory of your parents, just this religious people. They went to church every Sunday, I think Wednesday evenings or whatever it is. That's kind of how I remember knowing your parents.
Right.
But Devon
my mom worked at home, so she never worked out. And
okay.
We had the luxury of having her. I remember in all the years I went to school, primary and secondary school, I actually remember there was only about 4 or 5 days I got home and my mother wasn't there. Once I know she went to a funeral, and the other days I think her mother was in hospital, so she went to visit. So my mother was always there every day we got home. You know?
Amazing.
That's a good memory.
You know, I have to say as well, Ova, you may not know, but Mr. Alwyn George, the man we call Mr. Pony, who did still band.
Yes, Mr. Pony is the uncle, right?
No, it's my brother.
Yeah.
No, it's my brother.
It's your brother, your oldest brother.
Your brother?
Yes, my eldest brother.
I knew there was some relation. I thought it was uncle. Oh, wow.
This man is a curator of culture, especially in La Digue. He organized still band. He organized a calypso tent. He's done amazing work in culture. He won road match, I think, in the 1950s or 40s or something.
Really?
I have another show with him coming up. But yeah, that is Devon's brother.
Yes,
wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So Devon's in a well-rounded family. So
very cultural, You know, he got all aspects, the religious part, the smart part, the athletic part, you know, so you're well-rounded. That explains why his daughter was singing.
Yes, and his wife writes songs.
And his wife writes his songs. So.
He is a man we need in the community. So now you went to SAASS and you got I can show you become is it Intercol captain or is it athletic captain? I'm gonna share the screen while you talk.
Yeah, I was the Intercol captain. The second and the third year that SAASS won Intercol, I was captain of the team.
Okay.
And so the very first year SAASS won, Glidon Christopher was team captain. And the 2 subsequent years, I was the captain. Yes.
Okay, sir.
I mean, those were really, really proud years because, you know, we had good teams, you know, really strong teams, powerful teams, you know.
Yes.
And we won, so, you know, yeah.
Am I sharing my screen?
No, you're not.
Oh,
no.
Sorry. Sorry. I apologize again. So here I have the SAASS team.
Yeah.
And you're in the middle there in the front.
Yep.
Here.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And there is somebody else. You never need to tell us who's this person.
Yeah, that's my sister, Pamela.
That is funny because she kind of looks the same as how I remember her. She kind of looks the same from what she was when I remember her as the 20s.
Yes, the hairstyle
is here on the face.
I got
she
this
was
picture
an outfit too. Oh wow, okay.
I must say I got this picture from Livingston Nelson.
Right.
So it's
Right.
not mine. I'm just sharing. And I have another picture I will share later, which I got from a OECS teammate of his, Martin Clemens. So I'm not claiming these pictures. They're not mine. So I'm just sharing. Do you remember very much about this picture?
I think this was after Intercol, was it 81 or 82, I think. I don't remember the year, but I think it might have been 81 or 82 when we won the games, yeah.
So sorry, go ahead.
And I think this picture was actually taken at the school the following day or the following week.
So I can see all the coconut trees behind. That was
yes.
That was what we knew about telescope. It was coconut and black sage.
Yes, yeah, you're right. Yeah, this picture, evokes really good memories, eh?
Yes.
Because you see, I could identify some of the people there.
Okay, so tell us who you identify.
In the front row here, I think next to me here, that's look like Godfrey Augustine, I think.
Yes, that's Godfrey.
Right.
I can't see this person's face very clearly.
I can't see it clearly, so I can't really figure. I don't know, the young lady in front appears, it could be Beatrice, but I'm not sure.
I'm wondering if that's not Andres, because Andres Alexander?
It could be Andres,
Yes, I think
could be.
It looks like her because I don't see her anywhere else here.
Yeah, it could be Andres.
All right.
Could be.
And then there's Livingston in the back.
That's Livingston there, that's right.
Eugene.
Yes, that's right.
And I had a picture with Eugene who told me the name of the boys there, but I can't remember now.
Maybe if I see the original picture. Okay, next to the young man in the back row next to Livingston there, I think that looks like, that looks like Godric Taylor.
Okay.
Yeah, that looks like Godric Taylor. Seems like Godric. I think, that looks like Godric Taylor there. And the next one to his right, I'm not sure, but it looks like Bobby Lee, Joseph Henry. But I'm not positive about it.
Okay.
You know? Yeah, I could see Mr. Glenn, Neville Glenn to the left of Livingston there. And then to the extreme left of the picture, Mr. Eric Donald.
Oh, okay. Just let me bring it back down a little to show.
Right. So it's difficult for me to see.
Yes. And it's a black and white picture.
It's a black and white, yeah.
I'm gonna stop sharing now. And I will jump ahead and tell you, you have to tune into the next show I'm gonna have with Trevor Modest, because he has pictures in colors.
Yes. Trevor kept pictures. And the thing about it is that I must say about Trevor, I used to sit down in Simon and look at Trevor train, right? So he'll be training and I'm just sitting looking at him and I figure, I want to be like this guy. Ooh. I want to be able to do what he's doing, and Trevor will be training in season and out of season. There's nobody else training and he is there training, and I particularly remember him with the javelin and the discus. And he became our top javelin thrower at the time. Yeah, he did very well. And that was very inspirational to me. So later on, and I must say that Trevor helped me a lot in that. And then a couple of things he spoke to me about as well. And I remember he had this book that he lent me. And that book, they were teaching a technique, the glide. And because of that, I actually became the first person in Grenada who was gliding, doing the shot. And I think that gave me a particular advantage.
Gliding with shot put? I was thinking javelin.
No, gliding is where you throw from the back of the circle to the glide. And then eventually afterwards, they did the spin, right? But and that book, I remember it gave me eventually I realized I wasn't doing the technique quite right, but it did help a lot,
Wow.
Yeah,
amazing.
It did help a lot. So I must say that I could credit Trevor to a large extent with me being able eventually to get to where I got to with the shot. And well, ultimately, in track and field. Yeah.
So now you've been selected to represent Grenada in the OECS. How did you get there? What qualified you for being there, and then what happened while you were there?
Right. So the thing about it is that because I love the event so much, I just train, and you know what I read a lot, and because those days you didn't have coaches to assist as such.
Like a professional coach, yeah.
Right. You know, it's just the teacher in the school, and eventually you got to know more about the event than the teacher. You got to learn techniques more than, you know, and they would probably help more with track, you know, and probably jumps, but in the throws, you know, they were limited. So, so much so, for example, I tell you, although I was the best shot putter in school, my last day in school, I didn't win a medal in the shot. You see, because I learned to glide, and I was gliding. Now, when they did the circle, right? Because they threw from a circle. When they did the circle was too small. And I told them it was too small because I knew what the dimension was supposed to be, right? And, well, they didn't change it. And every time I throw, I just went out. So eventually I had to do a standing throw just to make the standard. But I was not able to throw far enough to even medal. But I was easily the best shot putter.
So then wasn't that the same year you went to the OECS?
No. I went to the OECS well after I left school. Because OECS
you continued.
Yeah, because I just love the event, right? And we didn't have many meets. So for a number of years, there was no meets I could participate in. But I just kept training because I just liked the event.
Wow.
And eventually, in 1987, they started OECS games. So I don't recall us having a meet that year. I don't remember what happened that year, but I don't remember there being boots and ties or so. But anyway, I remember that I got selected. But actually, I did not participate in that first games. The games was very heavily advertised, a lot of radio ads and so on. And but what happened is that I remember an athlete got injured the week of the meet. That was Gusham Springer. He was middle distance, 800 and 1500. He got injured, and the team management left him on the team, although they well realized that he may not be able to compete. And they replaced him. They took me out, and they brought a sprinter who they well knew would not compete in the games anyway. So a middle distance athlete get injured. You take a field event athlete out and you bring in a sprinter. I don't know. I think I know how to rationalize that, but
in hindsight, we know what happened there.
So in any case, I was in the game. Now let me tell you something. I was in the program, because they listed all the athletes in the program. So I was in the program. You know, I prepared my clothes and packed my bag and everything to go to the hotel. And you know what happened? I had to pay to go to that meet.
You had to pay to enter.
I had to pay to enter the meet.
Wow. I didn't pay. Even if you're an athlete on the
roster.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
I didn't pay anyway because one of the people in the gate recognized me. I said, why are you not with the team? I said, well, I get thrown off the team. So he said, well, you can't pay to come inside. But I mean, you know, so he allowed me in.
Thank God for that.
Anyway, but I just say that to say that what happened then in 1987 was a great motivation for me. Because this games was huge, right? It was organized by the OECS Sports Desk Respiratory, it was sponsored by Texaco, and it was huge. So you had each of the OECS countries had, I think, about 30 athletes and official, or 33 thereabout. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to get left next year. Next year is Antigua. I'm not going to get left. Then I was the best shot putter in Grenada. But I say, you know what? I know I'll be able to beat Trevor at the Javelin. I won't be able to beat Anthony George at the discus, but I could be second to them. Or if I'm not second, I could be a close third. Wow. And whoever is second, if they're not doing any other event, they can't go. But if I am best at the shot by a long shot, then if I could back up in these two other events, then I have a good shot at making the team.
That is smart, yeah. So you're going either ways, right?
Yeah, so I'm going. So that year, I went to the gym after the games. I went to the gym.
Gym?
Yeah, man. There was a gym downstairs.
The pavilion.
Victoria Park.
Yeah, Victoria Park has a little,
Right.
has a little wall gym. Had a little wall gym, yes.
Yeah, man. So I went to the gym, and after 1 month, I didn't go back. It was so rough. I think the guys who were working out in the gym were bodybuilders. And imagine the very first day I went, they already teach me properly how to do the weights. But you know, man, you could do it, man. You're strong, man. Push it, you know. So I'll do this weight, right? And then after I'm finished, I have to walk home. So I'm going up Gladstone Road, and I tell you, I'm drifting, you know. But honestly, after that 1 month, I had really very good strength gains. I decided I was not going to continue, but I continued training, you know. And so said, so done. The next year, actually, I was second best to Anthony George in the discus. I was the third best in the javelin, and I think I was very easily the best in the shot. Very easily.
Wow.
Yeah. So Antigua, here I come, you know.
Combination.
Yes, man. And I tell this story about Antigua, and it's something that helped me along in many ways after, because we got to Antigua and the games was at Antigua Recreation Ground. And you know what? When we got there, no, you know, you talk about my parents being very religious people and stuff. So I decided, okay, I'm traveling, and maybe I'll get an opportunity to go to church. So let me walk with some nice church clothes and stuff, right? And guess what? When we got there, the Friday evening, they had a reception for the athletes. And man, you go out and they're peeping outside to see how people dress and everything. And I see, man, people dressing up. So I have my Sunday best,
Good thing you brought the church clothes.
Yeah, man. So I put on the Sunday best, and I gone in and I look at the place, and it was the Royal Antiguan Hotel, which was just commissioned.
Wow.
Right? 5-star hotel. So you could imagine how the place was set out.
Right.
And the guest of honor was Ben Johnson and his coach, Dr. Astafan.
Wow.
You know? Yeah. So I tell you, it was something else. So we get to meet Ben Johnson. You know, I mean, that was before he had the drug thing and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was something as in the atmosphere, you know? And I looked at that and I said, wow. And I say, here am I, you know, I'm riding an elevator for the first time. And the food was just, you know, great and everything. So I say, man, I ain't compete yet, but I could tell you I'm not missing that games and nothing next day. You know, so that was a big motivation for me. And I say, look, I ain't bathing in no cold water for the whole weekend. And I ain't walking up those stairs for the whole weekend. So that was a great motivation for me. You know, I mean, look, I'm in a 5-star hotel. You know, that was huge for me. I said, this is what athletes enjoy, you know. And the next day, we go to the games and they start with the javelin. And of course, you know, Trevor is in the lead and we know he's going to win and he's gone, and I'm second place. So we're in the third round and I'm still second place. So for me, that is an unlikely medal, right? And then the event started on the track, and it's Antigua Recreation Ground. It's a small field. So we have to have these breaks every time an event is run on track, so the event gets extended. And while we're there, and it's really hot, Antigua is one of the hottest places.
Oh yes, it's very dry and hot.
Yes, hotter than where you used to, for sure.
Yeah, man. I always say Antigua, Carriacou, and Guyana. That is the 3 hottest places I've been to, you know? And while we're out there, I see the guys coming out for the shot, you know? And I'm what is this? So I'm in this
the javelin.
Yeah. And so I go over to the side, and Vida Bruno was the team management together with Job Alexander. I said, Job, I say, you know, look, they coming us for the event. I said, let me get out of the javelin so I could go into this event, because that's my main event. He said, what? She said, let me tell you something, young man. He said, we don't start anything like that. We don't complete. So I'm really getting hard, you know. But thankfully, the event was finished. And they went back in, right? Because they realized they couldn't start because there were a couple of us. And eventually I came third. I remember the penultimate throw. I'll never forget this guy, Maxwell Seals from St. Lucia. He come and he put in a throw, man, and just threw me to third place. But you know, happily I got a medal. So,
yes,
you
yes, yes.
So you still did it and you got a medal, exactly.
Determination, yeah. But you see, because you aimed so high.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they say if you aim at the eagle and you miss, you know, so you were still there. That is an unbelievable story. And in you experiencing all these things for the first time, you can come back now into the village and tell us. Eugene told me when he went.
But hold on. Before you come with that question, I must finish giving you that part of the story.
Okay.
Yeah, because we went in and they came back out for the shot. So I went in, got a congratulations, and I came back out immediately for the shot. So I'm thinking I'm so tired, but now realizing I'm very well warmed up, you know. So I went to a lady in the stand selling snow cone, and I bought a snow cone, and I had a lot of water, and I said, just give me the syrup, right? And I keep pouring water, and you know, the first throw, when I had the first throw, I look at it and I say, well, boy, maybe I should foul this throw because it didn't look like much. But I remember something Trevor Modest told me. He said, you never foul a throw. You never foul a throw deliberately. If in throwing, something happened, but you know, and I stepped back and I came out. And you know, when they measured it, that first throw was my very best throw of the competition.
Wow.
Actually, that smashed the record. It wasn't a little throw over, it was a big throw over the record.
Wow.
You know?
Luckily,
so with that one throw, I became the champion and record holder, you know?
Wow.
So you see when I tell you I credit Trevor for certain things, you know, that, you know? things, you know? Yes.
Wow.
I am happy you told this story because I thought maybe you weren't able to perform. And I was going to talk about that wonderful experience with the elevator. But Trevor never fouled a throw.
Yeah, he said never foul a throw. Never foul a throw.
That is
and
an
at the time he was team
story.
captain and everything as well. Yeah.
And as a lesson. And so how many years were you able to perform? Is it a yearly thing, the OECS?
Yeah, it was yearly. Actually, the games ran for 5 years, and then the sponsorship was lost. It had to do with St. Vincent trying to host the games, and they couldn't host it because I think the 2 or 3 hotels they had on the mainland at the time couldn't host all the athletes and officials. And Texaco just decided, you know what, they're going to pull out. Aww. Because what they did is that they tried to make Grenada in the south, and I think St. Kitts and Nevis in the north were the 2 countries, from my understanding, that were best able to host the meet based on the facilities and based on the accommodation and so on that were available.
Right.
And you know, Grenada hosted the games twice already. So some people were not happy with having to come back to Grenada again. But I guess it was just, you know, to do with the facilities.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
But people won't understand that, you know.
Well, the games were big. I mean, it was huge because I remember the games came back to Grenada in 1990. And watch. Well, you know, Grenada and the support for sports, right? And track and field in particular.
I was there.
You were there.
I
right.
was, yeah.
And I mean, it was huge, you know, and so competing at home in front of your home fans. And for me, you know, the shot was right close to the fence. So, I mean, my fans was there, you know. Laurel, who is now my wife, was my girlfriend at the time, and she had a few of her friends there. I know.
She was there.
I tell you, when I saw her, you know, I remember it was just about the time for the 4th throw, and that you know,
energized you.
Your fans, you know,
your girlfriend's right there.
That throw was my running throw, and smashed the record with that throw again. You know.
Wow.
You know, no. So that you know, that was really good for me. So the games was big. It was really big. St. Kitts, I remember St. Kitts, and you know, when I looked at your program with Martin, and something Martin didn't say, in St. Kitts, one of the athletes who had to run in the 4x4 got injured. And, you know, they came to me to run a leg in 4x4. I said, you're crazy. But then Conrad was the coach, remember, Martin actually ran 400, but Martin by then was very big. But Martin readily consented to run. We needed to win that 4x4 to win the games. Look, Martin ran You know, I mean, we raised Martin after that 4x4. Martin ran his heart out.
Ooh.
You know, that was one of the best, you know, for perseverance and everything on the track. Martin Clement in a 400 meters anchor in the 4x4. It was just awesome.
And that was the record and the gold medal and everything. That was a big race.
I don't recall, no. The record event he participated in was a 4x1.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah,
yes, with Eugene, right.
Right. And I mean, yeah, well, we expected he would run the 4x1, he would do well.
That's his event, yes.
Yes, but a 400, man.
That's 4 times.
Yeah. But he was good.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Sprinters are not going to run 400s and win. So that is real exceptional in his part.
I have to try and get the OECS team back. I'm going to see how I can get you all back. Martin doesn't remember the name of, neither does Eugene's athletes, I think, from the West Shaper side, who was also there. Let me just pull up the picture and share the screen again.
Okay.
Sharing screen. Sharon, next.
Yes, yeah.
So this is Martin's picture.
Right.
So right away, I saw you with the hair.
Okay. Yeah, that's me here.
But those guys were pretty tall. Most of them seem so
How tall are you? How tall are you?
No, man, I'm just 6 feet. I'm not so tall, you know.
That is tall.
Just about half inch over 6 feet.
That is tall still.
But I mean, I think the average height for a male is 5'9" or something like that. So you are tall.
Well, okay.
This is Martin in the back here.
Yeah, that's Martin here. That's Trevor next to him here.
That's Trevor. Yes.
Trevor, yeah.
I don't know. There are 2 athletes that did the 4x1, whom I don't think I can really say I recognize. I think this is Wayne McSween in the middle here.
Yeah, I think this one here look like it's Godric Taylor.
Oh, the one in the back?
The one, come back and look a bit. This one here. I think that looks like Godric Taylor.
This one?
No, this is Anthony George.
Anthony George, here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you remember who else? I can see 2 women, so maybe Jacinta Bartholomew is one of them.
Yes, likely, but I can't.
Yeah, we can't really recognize them
there. Yeah. But I think this actually here, this looks to me like St. Kitts, because I think this looks to me like the St. Kitts Prime Minister here. I think it was Denzel somebody. I remember because I have a picture where we met him. So I think this appears to me to be St. Kitts.
But I'm just remembering, I did ask you for pictures. You forgot.
Yeah, not that I forgot, but the pictures I want to find, I just couldn't find that album with them, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, please, if you find it, I can share it.
I will find it. I will find it.
When we get the home, we're gonna make a homecoming for you guys.
Okay. But in terms of the relay, the 4x1, I think I remember Devon Twine was part of that record breaking 4x1.
And Twine?
Devon Twine.
Devon Twine. Okay.
Yeah. That's brother to Dr. Patrick Antwine.
Oh.
Yeah. You know they from they originally from St. Andrews, eh?
I know their dad's from your village particularly.
Right. Well, their dad and my dad actually are first cousins. Yeah.
One family.
Yes. So Dave was in that 4x1 team. I can't remember who the other person was in that 4x1, but I remember Dave Antwine. He was in that 4x1 team. Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's switch a little now. You've finished school a while back. Sorry, because we went to we went to the OECS games, but you became a teacher also in Methodist.
Yeah, that's right.
That's when you used to get over the ride on the bike.
Yes. I actually started in Methodist school in January of '83. Mm-hmm.
And
Can I ask though, and maybe I'm jumping ahead.
Yeah.
So you're in Methodist school. What brought you to Convent and not SAASS?
Okay. And in a way, I kind of went to Convent reluctantly. So yeah, so Convent, you know, Convent wasn't doing well at Intercol. They weren't doing well at sports generally, and they were searching for somebody, right? So I remember I got a call from Sister Gertrude, and she asked me to come to speak with her, and I said okay, and I didn't go. I really didn't want to go in Convent, you know. But then what happened? I went to Guyana for a teachers, Caribbean Teachers Conference, and I left Guyana, went back before I came back home. I went to Trinidad. I spent 2 weeks in Trinidad. And while I was in Trinidad, you know, my cousin called me and said, phone for you. So I said, phone for me? Who could be calling me in Trinidad? And you know, Sister Gertrude was calling me in Trinidad. I never asked her how she got that number or anything, but she called me. And I said to her, okay, when I come back home, I'll come to speak with you. You know, I never went to speak with her. But then Laurel's grandmother died. And
Laurel is your wife?
Yes, my wife, grandmother. Was my girlfriend there?
No.
Right? And so at the funeral, she was speaking with Laurel because, you know, Laurel was deputy head girl or something like that at Convent that day. And she asked me, how are you doing? And you have boyfriend? And so one of her aunts said, yes, Devon George. Sister George said, which Devon George? You mean the Devon George? The track and field? She said, yes. She said, where is he? She said, he's here. Say, yes. So she said, go and get him for me. So, so here am I now, face to face with Sister George on the spot. She said, you promise? I said, okay, well, I'll make a promise again. I'll come to see you tomorrow. So I went to see her.
Wow.
And, you know, she was a smart person, you know? And I tried every which way to wiggle out. I said, you know, Sister Gertrude, I'm not a Catholic, you know. He said, well, maybe we might be able to convert you. I said, Sister Gertrude, you know, I'm a union person. And I just lead people into industrial action and things. She said, that's not a problem, you know? So I had no choice. So, you know, if you remember those days, secondary school actually started 1 week before primary school. So I went up to the convent and I taught for a week. When primary school opened up, I went back to the Methodist school.
Wow.
But she was a determined lady, so she went directly to the Ministry of Education. And Friday of the following week, I had a directive to report to Convent.
Wow.
So, you know, so I went and
she pulled out the big guns.
Yeah, man, she pulled out the big guns.
They needed you there. They needed you there.
You know what?
It was. I mean, you know, you're thinking of going into a situation where, look, the last 2 Intercol games, this school didn't score a point. You know, and prior to that, they weren't even doing well. So why are you putting yourself in that thing? You know what I mean?
But can I say, because I've been on the track team, you know,
yes.
throughout my entire career at Convent, and I'm thinking that you don't remember me because probably because I left, you and I spent a little time on the track team, but someone was just messaging me who went to Convent too. And he was saying, he said, you did the last year of Intercol with us. So you and I would have been on the same track team in 92.
Right.
But I think Wendy Henry, because Wendy Henry probably stood up because she came back probably a year after I left. And then we didn't win that year, but there were some names that stood up because I remember Sheba George. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes,
that girl came in, but she didn't break my record because I met her here in Canada one day at Winners and she said, Sandrian, I'm so excited. Did you know I broke your record when you left Convent? So and I know I was talking to Terry and he was telling me that you put a Convent on the map later on in Intercol. Like I hear things about Convent. Convent is the place to be for Intercol.
Well, I must jump in. Convent is a 2018 champion, Intercol female champion.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think that when you came, Mr. George, like we had great athletes. Like we could have run, but we never had training. And I remember, as I said, Gershom came in a few times, but Gershom is he's not a sprinter, right? So we didn't have that kind of the coaching to bring us into championship. We had records. We were fast ish, you know, among our peers.
Yeah.
But by the time we got to Intercol, I remember, and I mean, putting myself out there, but it's part of my experience. I remember my brother and then went to GSS, and that year GSS won the 4x1 with what's his name, Wade Smart and those guys.
We come on those guys.
Yeah. And I remember though he was watching me run because I was standing on that line there, and he said he think I was the slowest person. I didn't come last, but how I remember those girls, I heard the gun and I looked up and the high school's girls were gone. They were miles ahead of me. So we didn't know how to start a race properly, you know? So thank you that you made that transition from Methodist, you know, into Convent and really bringing out the good athletes, because we were good, we just didn't have the training and we were that motivated.
Yeah, I certainly agree with you, because and I think there was a general lack of confidence, right? But you know, I think once the school started to see little things happening, the confidence grew. Because I tell you something, something happened at the convent the very first year I was there that has stayed with me. Now, one of the first things I did is to see, well, what is it I could do to help these girls realize that they could compete successfully with their peers. So I remember the first event that there was a 5K or something on the western side, Victoria to go over, something like that. And I remember I took about 15 girls. Some girls who I know are not long distance runners, but they came. And that first race, I remember quite distinctly, Eugenie Andrew and Rondell Charles. Those two girls placed within the first, I think Eugenie was 8th and Rondell was within the first 15. And that was my story next assembly, that look, you can compete successfully among your peers, you know? And there we started getting the interest going. And I remember when I came on stage to announce that very first Intercol team, when I walked onto the stage, I looked back, because you know, this loud crescendo, it's like I was going to announce a team that was going to win Intercol, you know? And that just said something to me, that the girls really thought that they could do something well. And that Intercol, I remember, we scored 7 points. Wow. Right? Now, let me contextualize it, because the team that won that year scored, I think, 38 points or something like that. Right?
So we did well.
Scored 7 points. And at the end of the games, I remember clearly Sister Gertrude leading us, the students on the field. Sister Gertrude.
I remember that, yes.
Right. And it was like if Convent had won Intercol.
Yes.
7 points.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. And I remember that, like, the spirit, because we've never even placed it. We never passed hits sometimes, okay? We may get into, you know. Yeah. So I remember, which are 7 points, it was, we won. Like high school, and then probably were thinking why we were jumping. We almost broke the fence down ourselves, right? To run out on the field. But it just attests to the kind of person that you are, like the kind of leader, like the passion for the things that you do, that you can take a bunch of girls. And technically we had the talent there. We're a school filled with girls. You must find one good one.
It was there. Yeah, it was there because, and you know, I remember that 4x1 team, the junior 4x1 team, won the bronze medal.
Those were the girls, Sheba George and them,
Sheba wasn't in that team. Sheba was in the sub-junior team.
Junior,
but I remember Nicole Clark. Nicole Clark, Wendy Henry. I don't remember the other two girls off my head, but I remember Wendy Henry and Nicole Clark. I remember those two girls were in that team. Yeah. And I mean, I remember somebody telling me, look, no, you ain't scoring no points in the call, you know. So that was a real sweet victory for me. You know, actually, one of the coaches at SAASS told me that, they say, but why don't you just know you ain't scoring no points in the call. And I felt so pleased, because at that time, SAASS had two of the top girls, Meryl Peters and Giselle, I can't remember what Giselle's surname was, but they were the two top junior sprinters, and we beat that team. And, you know, really running became one of the hallmarks of Convent after that. You know, we did exceptionally well at relays. So what really helped too, I found, is that I made a promise to the girls. And I don't know if you remember that, Sandra. And I said, okay, the person who gave the best performance, I promised them a trip to Trinidad for Hampton Games.
Oh, wow. No, I don't.
I don't remember that. And I remember after the games, I remember there were two performances, Tonya Nelson and Wendy Henry. And I couldn't decide which one of them should go. And I asked the staff to help me decide which one. And they said me they can't help. Because when I outlined what they did, they thought it was good. Tonya won a bronze medal in the junior 800 meters, right? That was our first individual medal. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to take two of them. And I brought the two of them to Trinidad. Wow. And I think that really
motivated them.
Yeah, that motivated the other girls because they realized what? We could travel, you know? Yeah.
But wasn't that your motivation in Antigua too? When you saw the life, you're like, okay, I gotta live this life, right?
Yeah. Yes. So what happened the next year? We moved from 7 points. I think we got to 19 points. Ooh, right? Wow. And that year, high school won with 41 points. I think it was 41 or 53. We didn't have all these events at Intercol at the time, eh? And I remember Kim Fullerton. You remember Kim from Digue?
I know. Yeah, Kim and I keep in touch, yeah.
Right. So Kim was at SAASS the year. He was coaching and Kim said, what? Say, boy, George, you win. Say, win Intercol. You know? Because it was such a quantum leap. Yeah. Yeah. He said, no, you win. You know? And Convent never looked back after that because...
You told me a story about incentivizing the girls in that you didn't want to have them begging for money and stuff. So you put programs.
Yeah. So that other year, the first year we just, what I did, I just sponsored it because there was one person and at the time, a ticket to Trinidad, and I was going to Hampton anyway. A ticket to Trinidad was like $170, you know? So I thought, well, that wasn't such a big thing. Although eventually I bought 2 tickets. But the following year, I knew that we were going to have to bring more athletes because I knew the girls, I saw what they started doing. And then we started a training program at the end of October, right?
Wow.
Just before netball was finished, started at the end of October. And I saw how they were working. So I said, okay, I'll have to bring more people. So then what we started doing, we started to raise funds. So people say, well, give them a list and go get donations. I said, no, we don't do that. Let them earn it. So we did raffles. I remember we had a Dutch auction. We went to the car park Saturday morning and we washed cars and so.
Oh, wow.
And people came in.
Never heard of that Grenada before.
I know, eh?
Yeah, people who I think did not even need their car to be washed. They understood what was happening and they came to support. And I must say that those times we had tremendous support for the girls.
Wow.
I mean, we didn't institute a begging list thing. What we did to help to raise funds for the sports and to get spikes and stuff like that, is that we went around and we started asking people to sponsor an event.
Wow.
Which is something that caught on in other sports meets afterwards. So we went to people and we say, sponsor an event. And we had the cost of sponsoring the event. And what we did is that we bought medals.
Wow.
So now the girls started getting medals, you know? And because of how we were able to get the medals and get discounted, we were able to get to move some of these funds to getting spikes and stuff like that. Monies that the school have had to spend originally on getting the medals could have been put, you know, into getting spikes and other equipment and so.
You know, Mr. George, and I mean, obviously I wasn't there then, but just hearing that, because we never ran with spikes. I ran in Intercol running shoes, and those girls had spikes, because nobody cared enough to even say, let's give this athlete some spikes. You know? So we had to be making sure those girls don't step on us, you know, they're running, don't get close to that line, right? So, but I'm amazed that you took it so, it's not like it's your alma mater or anything like that, you know, but you still invested so much and got the girls.
Yeah, well, the thing is
on the map. So.
The thing is, you just take pride in what you do. And then, you know, coming from SAASS, you still have this kind of loyalty to SAASS. But then I tell SAASS, you know, if you want to beat us, you have to step up because we're not going to be bowing down to you, you know? And now these girls start believing in themselves and their ability to do this stuff. I want to take them to the highest level. I want to see people representing Grenada and stuff like that. So we're working. And it wasn't long before we got really good rewards, because the following year, I think actually it was the 4th year, we came second to high school. They added on events. And I remember high school scored 104 or 106 points, and we got to 98.
Wow.
Right? I mean, the next year, it was that close as well, right? Then what happens is that they added on the throwing events in the junior category and so on. And being a field events competitor, a thrower, I said, look, you know what I do, I'll look to see, I know people like the track because they look at glamour events. Yeah. So I'm going to look at, I'm going to look at what other events we could do. So I remember I said, I must get javelin throwers here. But by that time, I had gone on to do IAAF level 2 coaching program.
Oh,
right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know,
congratulations.
Level 1.
Yeah.
We had a level 1 in Grenada, and then we went to Puerto Rico to the level 2.
Wow.
So you learn techniques and stuff like that. And you know, then we were able to get, you know, the same Sheba. Sheba was a sprinter, but you know, Sheba was big.
Yeah, she was a tall, big girl. Yeah.
Right. Eventually, Sheba did well at discus, well at shot. Sheba was the first athlete from the school I got to travel to represent Grenada. Wow. She went to the Cayman Islands for Carifta.
Wow.
And rather fortunately, I got to go as the coach. Right. Wow. Actually, with 3 athletes: Sheba George, Sharon, Canmouth's son was from the western side, from St. John's, and what's his name now? Is through the javelin again. I'm seeing now the name just eluding me a little bit. From SAASS. Hopefully I forget his name. Anyway, gonna come back just now. Wow. And we went to Cayman Islands, and Sheba won. She won a silver medal in the shot and a bronze medal in the discus at Carifta Games.
Wow.
You know, on the 17th. So that was good. Now, the next year, we had a really good year. No, I stopped competing at the time because actually in 1990, I had a motorbike accident, injured my leg. So I competed in 91, but it was just too painful. So I stopped, and then I started. So I came back when I went to Convent and said, okay, I tell them, I say, I'm going to start competing again because I wanted to see how to behave in an event. Right?
Wow.
Sorry, before that, can I interject? Because you told me you had a strategy for controlling anxiety. So did you pass that on to your girls? What was the strategy?
Yeah, I did. Well, one of the things I did is that when you go into the meet, you just behave super confident. Like, this event is mine. So you're warming up and you go to the circle, or you go wherever you are warming up, and you just behave in a certain way that, like, you're in charge. I mean, you're there, and they don't know. These other athletes don't know that you are as anxious as they are, but you behave like you're in charge, right? And so you kind of psych them out a little bit, you know? And we always look for little things that we could do to throw them off, right? So, for example, when I did a shot and a throw, I would make this loud noise that you could stay up in the stands and hear me. You know what I mean? And believe it or not, that would affect other athletes.
Yes.
You know? Yeah, that would affect other athletes. So those little things, you know. So I think it was the 5th year I was at Convent. And so I'm in the event, I'm in the shot, close to the pavilion. And then we had this big display boards at the time. So they would put up the athlete's performance on the board. And I'm looking at the girls in the far end doing the discuss. And then somebody called me and said, look at the board. So I look at the performance board. And Sheba George, Kathy and Hopkins, and Nasha Belfon is in the event, right? And man, you hear a roar, you know, because up on the board in the discus was a throw of 37 point something meters.
Wow.
Right?
That was Sheba?
No, that wasn't Sheba. That was, I think, Kathy and Nasha, one of them. The national record at the time was 33 point something meters.
Holy moly.
And you have this Convent student. No.
Wow.
Convent is not known for, you know, right? It's coming up. And there's only about 37 point something meters.
Wow.
You know what happened in that meet? In that meet, Kathy and Hopkins won the event with 39 point something meters.
Holy, whoa.
Nasha was second with 38 point something.
So they all smashed the record.
Sheba was third with 37 points. The three of them smashed the national record. All three of them smashed the national record.
But
you know,
coach.
That's what I was gonna say. I think it's the good coaching, because I did all those events too. I did shot put and discus and javelin in Convent. I never went anywhere with it, right? And I think I was a pretty strong girl. So I think it's really because of the coaching. You have to.
I think the coaching was one aspect of it, but the girls really worked hard.
Well, yes.
And they had very good community support and parental support as well, right? Because what we did, and the school, you know, the staff.
Well, now they're investing into the athletes, so that's a good thing, right? So.
Yeah, because we actually bought some equipment, weights and so on, and the girls they were working out. And this group of girls, the field events competitors, the throwers, they worked very hard. So I said to them, I say, you know, we're working, and sometimes in one evening we're doing drills alone. So you go around the entire field several times, just doing 1 or 2 drills, because they got to understand by that time that you need to work hard, you know. So they were eventually able to do that. And that same year, all 3 of them, 2 of them, I can't remember what happened to Sheba that year and Carifta Games, but Nasha and Katian went to Carifta Games. They had Magdalene Steele. We had a couple of people who did jumps, and I think a couple of people on the track, but Carifta Games was in Jamaica that year. Katian was 4th in the discus. I think Nasha was 5th. But you know what? Nasha won the javelin.
Wow.
She was a Carifta gold medalist that year in the javelin.
Wow.
So that was huge. You know, so that was really, really big. You know, and I think from there things just went, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, because when it got to that stage, but I think the school community was very supportive. Parents were very supportive. The school was very supportive. You know, so they were able to do well. So the coaching we just provided
I think the coaching brought it out.
Well, you brought the confidence, you brought the know-how, you came with the package. So
I firmly believe that. Yeah. And I believe that because I was one of those students to doing all those events. And though I thought I was good, I never felt that I was good enough. We went, and you said it's a confidence, because we never had a coach. We had the PE teacher, and Gershom came a few times. And even but we all trained, because I know Terry did track too. We all trained exactly the same way, even if we were doing different events. So there was nothing strengthening me. I never lifted a weight ever. I was just kind of strong, but our training was doing running drills on the beach, right? Or running long distance. So even if you're a long distance runner, a short distance runner, a thrower, you know, a field event, we did exactly the same thing. We already went to Intercol feeling real defeated. We knew we weren't going to win. We were just representing the school. But I think with a coach like you, plus you already competed in so many of those events yourself. You re-competed again to show them how to do it. So they're already feeling confident from the back. You know, Mr. George, Mr. George did. George won this, Mr. George. So that, and I think then, yes, I can see the community behind them, the school behind them. So thanks to you.
So let me tell you what a Convent girl would have been seeing when they see Mr. George.
A handsome man.
A handsome young man.
Yes.
A SAASS. An Intercol champion.
Yes. And he rides a motorcycle.
And a man on a motorcycle.
Yes.
I mean, they had to have confidence coming from all over their body. And they would you because you've done it before. But they would have done it, they would have listened to you even if you were just handsome. But the added bonus.
I think the rare thing is that they figured, well, there's somebody who seems to know what they're about. Yeah. You know, and it started paying off. So once that very first year, it paid dividend, and I think, you know, they were keen on, you know, on getting involved, and then, you know, Sister Gertrude, I think all of the staff was supportive, mind you, but Sister Gertrude, you know, Sandra, you know, the type of person Sister Gertrude was. She was a really great motivator, you know, and her role in getting them to do what they did was tremendous. She was very supportive and, you know, yeah.
She would come down and we'll all pray before we go. And even actually when I left school, and this has nothing to do with track, but I remember when I left Convent, because I sang in the choir, I was one of those girls. When Sister Gertrude was leaving, I came back to sing for her. And my sister was there too. And she said, wow, Sister Gertrude cried. She said, I love you, Sandra. But she was that kind of, she was always that really loving, sweet, very tiny lady, but most wonderful, supportive principal that you have.
And you can tell how progressive she was, the way she pursued
him, a guy, a non-Catholic guy.
Yeah, right. Religion meant a lot then, and she could have gone anywhere else. But I would tell you what probably she saw in you when you're walking home, because more than often you walked home from school.
Yes, that's the thing, yeah.
Your deportment even on the street. And there were lots of girls walking beside you, around you and all that. So you were very focused, very friendly, but she didn't hear your name calling with Mary, Jane, and Cathy, you know. And you were just a tall guy over us, very handsome and smiling to everybody, saying hello. And I used to watch you and admire you. It's like I could have put you in a glass case. I didn't want to marry you or anything. It's just you had your deportment, the confidence and everything. It was a very nice young man.
He was.
Thank
He
you.
was a very nice young man. And I just want to say, because I remember you said off camera that you were really instrumental in getting the ball. Well, not the ball. What do we call it home? I can't remember. After the graduation party. Yes,
the reception, yeah.
The reception, yeah, it was kind of, because yes, it was the first in a long, long time. And I remember the girls and I, which is a funny story, and I won't call that girl's name. We were walking down from school because it was our year that was going to have that party, right? And we were discussing, do we want a ball or just the dinner? Because I think it was just dinners they used to do back then. And I remember she was saying, aren't we like too old to have balls? Like, just be bumping balls? Because we had no concept of what this.
Oh, what a ball was.
Right?
Okay.
Well, she didn't know. We're like, a ball is not like that, but it's more like those girls you dress up when you go. And I'm sure she remember, because another friend and I talk about that all the time, but I wouldn't call her name.
Okay.
Because that was a great party. It was a beautiful place. So now that you're saying, I mean, behind the scene, we don't know who's responsible for this, but thanks for bringing this idea to life. So by the time when I was graduating, I experienced something that girls before me didn't. And we felt like we were in the West, we were all dressed up and there was music and it was a really nice hall. There was fancy clothes and food. And so thank you for giving us that Western experience.
Well, I just thought that I think what he was saying is that about how girls might behave. So this is a good opportunity to teach them how to behave. And in any case, so many of them want to go to the bar that the other schools have. So just give them something that they pay other peers to enjoy. And Sister Gertrude accepted it. So,
Wow. Yeah. So progression on her part. And once again, to say the kind of leader, I mean, you're a guy, you're not even a girl. You're a guy advocating for a bunch of girls to have a fancy.
So I think we've come to the end. I've got some reminders here that our time has gaspiated. And I want to just clear up, because after I said it in my head, it sounded wrong. I didn't mean you weren't handsome and marriageable. I just mean you were that far from me. Even if you talk to me and stuff, I would not have dreamed that I could have been an adequate wife.
I guess we were all just kids anyway, so that wasn't all,
I knew my limitations, so I just admire you and said, if I could have catch you and put you in a bottle like a genie, that would have been good enough. So I know your father was so strict.
Yeah, he was.
In a way, I think I was different to most girls. I didn't try, and maybe that's a bad thing on my part, I didn't try to capture guys I knew was out of my league. I just admire them, and I always wanted to uplift them and elevate them. And I don't have something that could do that. So when I talk to you, we're just joking and we giggle and you're gone home. If I can't do that, and I stay back, and I'm not gonna try to be a girlfriend, even if I want to be, but I'm not gonna try.
I know we're ending with time, but I'm gonna quickly say, since you were not a girlfriend, but his wife was a girlfriend, I could only imagine the joy she felt standing by that fence, seeing her handsome boyfriend. Because then, I mean, she's hoping it's gonna be a husband, right? And I can only imagine how many times she signed George as a last name. But you're standing there looking at him at the fence, and he's winning an event, and you're like, oh my God! And all your friends are like, oh, boyfriend just won, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, she's a strong, confident woman, because to have a guy like you as a boyfriend and be sure you're going to be his wife, I mean,
that's why she was at the that's why she was at the fence right in front.
Got it, boyfriend got it.
Yeah. But, thank you,
George. Yes, I don't know if you have anything you want to say, because we're wrapping up. Anything I before Over and I give you a thanks?
Yeah, well, I just think, like I said, I wasn't really gung-ho at first about doing the program. But when I looked at the program with Martin, it brought back a lot of good memories for me. And I thought maybe, okay, if I'm on the program, maybe it may help to bring back good memories and reminders to some people.
For somebody else. Yes.
Yeah, but I'm just really thankful to people who helped me along as an athlete, and there were many of them, and people who helped me along when I was a coach as well. Because if I spoke about being at the convent and working those days, Wayne McSween was really a great assistance to me at that time. He was a younger guy. We did the level 1 coaching course together. We did the level 2 at Puerto Rico together. And he was in the primary school working at, and when I started at the convent, I said to him, well, come down on afternoons and work with me, And, so by the time I was there, I think the 3rd year, he was there with me regularly, and he was great, a great help. And he now is I would say our premier track and field coach in Grenada. I mean, I dare say that, but he's certainly, I think currently the most productive track and field coach in Grenada, And those guys helped a lot. Members of the school community, because there are some members of the school community, they could go to them and they will be sponsoring an event without question. I remember one year we were late in going, and I remember this gentleman asked, he said, what's happening? You're not coming around this year, right? And then parents played when I'm in a really good role, and I was really supportive. So a lot of people, I mean, I mentioned the staff last, because the staff was there, and yeah, man, we had guys who came in, Leroy Joseph, Peter Braveboy. They didn't know anything about track and field, really, but they assisted, Yeah, sometimes you figure they could get more assistance, but generally, people, chipped in and do what they had to do. And the students themselves, if sometimes you wanted to lay back and think a little bit, they want to go, and you see them wanting to go, we had, and there still is, a wealth of talent around. And I just want to encourage athletes and encourage coaches and so on.
And parents.
And parents, once there's opportunity, because we see a lot of our athletes who have been able to get track and field scholarships and so on. And even I remember when I started looking for scholarships, the university I started working with, they said, we're just rebuilding our track and field program. So we're going to start with academic scholarships. And I was able to get a few people to go academic scholarships and did very well. One of them today is a doctor of chemistry. And then he didn't stop there. He then became a medical doctor, Wow. So I feel very happy about that. And just to see how athletes have grown and the opportunities that exist for them today. I think more of our athletes should, look to try to capture those things, And kudos to coaches and others who help them along.
And I would say kudos to SAASS, who probably pioneered the sports as in developing kids in the rural areas into an organized activity. And clubs like LCYC, we're going to have them on later on in the show. But you all are coming from SAASS, and Livingston mentioned how much this SAASS group of athletes that, you know, ended in the 80s there branched out to be building Grenada's athletes now and Grenada's or sports efforts locally and internationally.
Yeah, you have Colin Peters, who is now, I think, director of sports, you know. He was one of the guys in SAASS, you know, and he went on to GBSS coaching and, you know, helped them tremendously, you know. And even though, you know, we coached at different schools to our rivals, the SAASS, we did what we had to do, and, you know, it was all good, I think.
Yes, you know? Absolutely. Because you branched out to build Grenada. You branched out to build the rural areas. And you still have that friendship and that community.
Yes, man.
So we need that. And so, Over, I will start with the gift you're going to give Mr. George. You for those lovely, the romantic feeling, the motorbike, and confidence and.
You know what? If we're gonna go to the motorcycle, I feel at that point, because he was this really handsome guy, and he didn't used to talk much to Latin people. Not that I can remember, right? I've never seen him stopping and talk along the way to.
I wasn't there anymore. That's why I left.
Well, that's why, yeah. So I always felt real special, you know, when I got that right, for him to stop and give me, like I expected it, right? He probably doesn't remember, but it felt really nice just riding on the back of your motorcycle. So thanks for that romantic part of my teenage life, and giving me the ride home, because it's a long walk. But also, though, for the things that you did for Convent, I mean, I didn't keep up much once I left, and you know, with sports and stuff there, so I'm sorry for that. But just talking to people who went to the Convent, you really did put Convent on the map. And for all the girls in my year, you know, I know Wendy Henry, one of those that went on, but the ones who left, that really, we loved track and we wanted to do something more, but we never had that push or that drive or that coach. So on behalf of all the girls before me who were really good, thanks for, you know, stepping up and getting the other girls that came after us to do something that they were passionate about, that we didn't have the opportunity to really do. So thank you for that.
Most welcome.
All right. And so Mr. Devon George, do you have a middle name?
Linton.
Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I mean, despite how religious your dad was, he went out of the Bible to name you. That's that's how diverse he wanted you to be. You know, he's teaching you inside, and your name is a key to any department outside. So I really appreciate your friendship. I was wondering in the past too, because occasionally we used to say hello on WhatsApp. I mean, and on Facebook, not Facebook, but other platforms. And then when I really wanted to get in touch with you, because everybody was telling me about you, and I said, I kept asking you, and I said, I don't know what I've done to you. I have such a warm spot in my heart for you. I can't remember saying anything bad about you. And I understand that, you know, it took you some time to get here, but your stories are inspirational to us all. This whole channel is for you, your story to inspire somebody, your story to show people that there is a person in the community they can talk to. And you are that type of guy. We didn't get to talk about it, but you are a church elder.
Yes, I am.
Yes. Oh, sorry, and I want to say quickly, because the person I've been talking to, they told me that you do a very healthy lifestyle, and you eat very healthy. You don't eat meat. So good.
Well, we are health reformers. Part of what we do is plant-based, and we promote the 8 laws of health. Wow. We believe in Psalm 103 verse 3 that all diseases can be healed, and yeah, we could do it with lifestyle, and sometimes with the help of herbs to help nature, you know. Wow. We believe that the cause is in the cure. So what we need to do is to ascertain the cause of disease, and we will fix that, you know. Yes, so we are health reformers. We plant-based.
Yeah, so the person told me that. So good, but I guess that's another video in itself, dear. So
yes,
Okay.
it is. And
Sure.
I mean, much people didn't get to see you when you got up to go get the cup, the drink, and I got to see the body, and it's still the same. The body is
so
still,
that
you
so
know,
that the lifestyle's working.
yeah, it's still serving.
Lifestyle's working, yeah.
I'd like to thank your wife too and your daughter for the lovely song she gave us. She has a very lovely voice, and we look
Okay.
forward to seeing her in the future. And
So,
for all the things you've done for us and our community, and I'm sure LCYC knew your abilities. One thing I must say, EP from LCYC had the ability to know people and to reach out. And
okay.
because we were in the Latin community, we were just born with confidence.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were born to win. And I appreciate you sharing even, you know, how you captivated and your anxiety, you know, how you got on top of it, how you psyched people out, how you were able to teach the girls in convent. Because actually, did you have any boys in you?
No. When I got there, boys had already left.
Oh, all right. Because I mean, you would have been stalwart for them, because I often felt sorry for the boys, you know, having to say I went to convent, you know. So I appreciate what you did though for convent, to the fact that what you built, that convent has, the foundation you laid, that they've built on it to become the 2018 champions of Intercol. And you know, as a teacher, that must come home, you know, you see the dividends.
Yeah, I mean, I was very happy. I was very happy for them, you know, that they eventually got to win, you know. Oh, it should have happened, you know, we thought it could have and should have happened before, but better late than never. And I think it was really good for the school and for the psyche of the school. And I hope that they could continue in that kind of way, you know, when opportunity comes again, you know.
Well, I will say this though, from you know, I think it's Luke 9. The sower went out to sow seeds. You know that story.
Yes.
The fact that you sow the seeds, you may not see the fruit. You know, your grandchildren may see it. Thank God you're seeing it now, but
I've seen it,
you sow the seed, and that is the key.
Yeah.
It's the seed has been sown. So now we're seeing the fruit. So from a LADIG point of view, we are going to be working on putting, you know, your name in a community. Well, you are in my LADIG community, my LADIG as a who's who in LADIG. And hopefully we can do something. I have talks with EP and them coming up. We can do something where we can put up, you know, these people live in our community. They help build the community and so on. Thank you for being a shining light. Thank you.
Most welcome.
Thank you. All right, thanks. Nice to see you again. Thanks.
I mean, I'm glad I had an opportunity, you know, I was given an opportunity to make a difference, you know, and hopefully that was good enough.
I am glad. And we didn't get to share this, your leadership and your perseverance and determination. I'm glad you defied your dad that day as well too, and went on after. And that's another thing we didn't talk about, that our parents would punish us by saying no sports because they know we like it.
Oh yeah, I've been there too.
Right.
But I was the child that did it. That my daughter too, and I know this is another topic. I remember my mom said I wasn't playing netball for school because I went to convent and netball was a big thing. But I always stayed to practice. And I would come home late and I'll get in trouble, but she never let me play, but I felt satisfied that I practiced.
Right.
Mr. George have a similar situation where he said, I am going to compete. And his dad was gracious. And I think in that, parents often used to fall back in the old ways where they didn't reason with you. They weren't reasonable, and they didn't like it when we made inquiry. But
my way on the highway.
Yes.
Yes.
But thank God mom was in the house. You had a strong mom who kept everything balanced. And so I will sign off now by saying we really appreciate your effort. We appreciate you coming on and share. And
thanks for having me.
You and your family. And continue doing the good work.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye now.
Take good care.
All right, take care. Bye.
All right, Sandra, bye-bye.
Take care, you too. Bye.
All right then, bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.